to week 3 for Sunday Night Football. We've got San Francisco versus Green Bay tonight. For Green Bay, I smoked some cheese earlier in the week. Got the recording on how I did that. That'll be part of the video too. And I'm going to do some bratwursts also. For San Francisco, it's a little bit tricky deciding what to do. The food everybody associates with San Francisco is rice-a-roni. Doesn't work very well for barbecuing. So I'm going to branch out a little bit. I'm going to do a couple of TriTips. That's really popular Santa Maria style barbecue, Central California. So I'm going to apply that and call it San Francisco also. So it's Tuesday night. I'm going to do part of this a few nights early. As part of the Green Bay Packers package for Sunday Night Football, I'm going to smoke some cheese. Have to do this a little ahead of time because we're going to be cold smoking instead of hot smoking or barbecuing. So I'm doing this during the night, taking advantage of the fact that it's coldest to help the cheese to not melt. And going to have to control the fire a little bit to try to get maximum smoke with minimum heat. So we've got a variety of cheeses here. We've got a couple of cheddars, got an extra sharp and a mild. See what kind of contrast we can get in flavors there. Got some mozzarella, and then a couple different jack cheeses. We got pepper jack, Colby jack, and Monterey jack. And then we got Munster. Didn't have any particular reason for going with a bigger block on that one. They just didn't have it in the smaller ones. So I've got all of these. Gonna get some good smoke on all those. Wrap them up for a few days to let that really seal in. And they'll be ready to serve on Sunday with the rest of the food. As you can see, we're doing this at night. I'm going to try to do this when it's as cold as possible. It's still kind of early in the season for cold smoking here in Kansas. It's about 55 degrees right now. It's supposed to be dropping down towards about 50 while we'll be smoking. It's about as cold as it's going to get this time of year. Much smaller charcoal bed than usual. Normally if we're doing hot smoking or barbecuing, I've got pretty much the entire thing covered a couple layers deep. For cold smoking, I'm wanting to keep my fire small. I usually just try to keep about 3 to 5 charcoals going at a time. I'm going to still try to get a lot of smoke, so I'm going to smother them with wood chips, get a lot of good smoke rolling. I'm going to try to keep the bed of charcoals as small as possible to minimize the heat. I'm also going to take a couple extra precautions. I'm going to run the cheese all the way up on the top so it's as indirect heat as possible. And I'm going to keep a little water bath in the middle to create a little barricade so that if the charcoals do start to get a little bit of warmer, there's something blocking it from getting to the cheese. You can do ice cubes for that. You can do a foil pan with water. Anything like that works fine. If you have a smoker that comes with a heat deflector, that works great too. But the more precautions you can take to keep the heat down while still getting that smoke, the better it's going to be. Depending on where you're at, you might not have to worry about this as much. If you're somewhere further north, you have the climate on your side. If you're somewhere further south, you're going to have to use as many precautions as possible. We're kind of right in the middle here in Kansas. I've got the cheese all up here, all the way on the top. You want a little bit of space between all of them so they're getting as much surface coated as possible with that smoke. That's the whole point. Now down in my firebox, I'm going to add some cherry wood chips. Whatever you're using, you want to give it something sweet. You don't want a bitter smoke flavor on your cheese. So any sort of fruit wood is good, pecan is good, cherry, apple, anything like that. Stay away from mesquite. Probably stay away from hickory or oak also. Go with something a little sweeter in my opinion. I'm going to try to get a pretty good handful on, even though there's just a little bit of wood, or even there's just a little bit of charcoal. This is where I'm going to be getting all that smoke from, and so I want to get my money's worth. Smaller pieces of wood are better, so wood shavings, wood chips work better here instead of full-size blocks. And as those start to smolder a little bit, that's where we'll be getting that good sweet smoke that will flavor our cheese. I'm going to keep checking on it about every 30 minutes to an hour, add a couple more charcoals, some more wood as necessary. Check the cheese to make sure I'm keeping the temperature down and it's not starting to melt or get oily. And I'm going to go for about a total of 4 hours, unless I start to see the color from the smoke really take hold earlier but usually for me it's about 4 hours. You can see that smoke starting to roll in here. That's going to do all sorts of good for the cheese. First thing we're going to be cooking today is some tri-tip. I've got 2 of them here. Season this one up and show you how I do that. So I've got a pre-mixed seasoning package here. It's just salt, pepper, garlic, paprika. It's basically the same as what I used last week to do the burnt ends. About 2 parts each salt and pepper. Thicker grain the better. 1 part each garlic and paprika. Got that mixed up here. You can see why they might call this a tri-tip. It's got 3 different points on it. It's from the sirloin of the steer. It doesn't have a lot of fat, but it's got some good marbling throughout. It's kind of between a steak and a roast in terms of size. So it's going to give me a chance to use a reverse sear cooking method. So I'm going to smoke it first and get it almost up to temperature, and then finish it hot and fast on the grill. I'm not going to go too heavy-handed with the seasoning like I did for the brisket last time. Tri-tip's not as big and it's not going to cook as long, so I don't want to overdo it too much, but I want to get some of those flavors worked in there pretty nice. The ones I bought for this didn't require any trimming at all. They were already very nicely cut up. All the excess fat, anything like that, already removed. Just make sure I got my surfaces all accounted for. A little bit here on this side. Tri-tip isn't a cut that you can always find super easily. Not every grocery store is going to carry it. Not every butcher shop even is going to carry it. But it's a really good cut if you can find it. Sometimes it's even a lot cheaper than a lot of the other steak quality cuts. It can be something fun to try. It's really good, like I said, for that reverse sear method. Got that seasoned up. Do the other one the same way, and then I'll get those onto the smoker and get them cooking. Put the tri-tips on the smoker. I'm going to run them up toward the top here. I don't want them to come up to temperature too fast. I want them to get a lot of good smoke first, and I'll finish them on the grill. That'll be the fast part. I'm going to put both of these on the same grate. Not a particularly huge cut of meat. They should both be able to fit on there. Just like that. We'll get that closed, get it to cooking. I'm going to be running this with hickory wood for my smoke, trying to keep it around 250 to 275. I'm going to finish the tri-tips here on the grill. I've got just a little bed going. I'm just going to put them directly over the fire. I let them smoke until they got up to about 115 degrees internal, which would be very, very rare. That gets that smoky flavor all the way through. Now I'm going to finish them over direct heat, get a good sear on both sides, and finish them that way. So I'm just going to go about 3 to 5 minutes on each side. Let them get that sear, and let them finish coming up to a good medium rare. Do that here. So I'll get the lid back on. Like I said, about 3 to 5 minutes each side. For the Green Bay side of things, we've already got the cheese smoked. I'm going to throw some bratwursts in the smoker as well. Smoking the sausages rather than grilling them or pan searing it was a little bit unorthodox. I did this a couple weeks ago though with the Chicago dogs. I think it gives a lot more flavor having it in the smoker for 30 minutes instead of on the grill for 5 or 10. Get that flavor all the way through. And once the tri-tips are done, I'm going to throw these onto the grill to finish to get a good sear that way too if they need it. I've got a pack of cheddar brats, a pack of just regular plastic bratwursts, and get those going. Got the tri-tip finished up, the bratwurst finished up, got some of the cheese sliced, so I've got sharp cheddar, pepper jack, Colby jack, Monterey jack, Munster, mozzarella, and mild cheddar, all arranged there. Also got little homemade chimichurri. I didn't blend everything, so it's kind of between a chimichurri and a garden salsa. That's going to go on the tri-tip. So, for slicing the tri-tip, you can see it's got a very strong grain running in this direction. We're going to slice it across the grain. into pretty thin slices here. Closer to the tip, it's probably going to look more on the medium well to well done side. As we get toward the middle, it should start to look more in the medium rare to medium range is what I was going for. Starting to see some pink there. So there we go, it's a good center slice. Got pretty pink all the way through. Got my smoke ring around the outside. See, that's already ready to pull apart, going to be very tender. I'm just going to add a little chimichurri to that, and that'll be ready to go. For the bratwurst, stick them on a bun, add whatever you want. Green Bay style would definitely have some sauerkraut, and dig in. As always, thank you to my lovely wife, Evelise, for doing the recording. My name is Alex Becker. Thank you for watching.